Yo, what up? It's Donut, and you tuning in to all your Illuminati news. We got a big show for you today. Lots of crazy stuff. I mean, we got the AOL guy. You got Mel. He passed away. All these 43. I, I, I mean, it's going to get crazy. We're going to talk about them escape monkeys. Like, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And we are here with Paranoid American. What up, Paranoid American?
Hey, don't forget about that Pilgrim Society either. That one's
Oh,
really
yeah.
wild.
We're going to also dive into the Pilgrim Society. It's going to blow your mind. It's absolutely nuts. But before we start the show, make sure to smash that like button as you enter. Share this video out. What's up, Jessica? We are streaming live all over the place. And I am pumped up because we are about to release the Illuminati comic. The Illuminati comic will be dropping on 11/11, which is in 3 days almost 3 days from now. We're going to be dropping the Illuminati comic. And thank you so much, everybody who has signed up. We almost got 697. Let's get
Damn,
this.
what? We were just at 600 last night around this time.
Yeah, we were at 500 and like 90 something. Just
We
like
got
we're
100 in one day. That's insane.
Yeah. So please go over here. I got the link pinned up. We're doing these streams every single day, every single night at 11/11 Eastern time because we're dropping this Illuminati comic in about 3 days from now. And you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure, look, we just got another one signed up. We just need 2 more signed up. So go click that. Go click that link for the Illuminati comic. Are you getting excited for the release?
I didn't think we were gonna have this many pre-sign-ups. So yeah, I'm excited, maybe a little bit nervous because this one's gonna be huge, man. This is the biggest, and I guess I've been saying this, and I'm not just throwing it out there, but it's like the most important comic that I've dropped so far. The rest of them, every single comic is important, obviously, but this one is about a topic that's so important, and hopefully, this is gonna be like the standard for learning about the Illuminati for decades or more to come. That's my real goal for all this. So me and you both have put as much as we could into this thing to make it the best it possibly could be.
Yeah, we invested a lot. We worked a lot on it. We spent a whole year making this comic. And by signing up now, not only are you going to get early access to right when this drops, but it's going to be international. Where you get the donut VHS box, you get all the goodies. So I am so pumped for it because we got almost 3 more days until it goes live. And then when it goes live,
we got 3 days and like 30 minutes.
We got 3 days and 30 minutes for the Illuminati comic. Now, we got a lot of Illuminati news as well to cover. There's this huge story of the monkeys. And I think we're going to just have to start off with that because this seems to be the biggest news. The guy from AOL, You've Got Mail died, but let's dive right into this monkey stuff. This
monkey business.
Police hunt 43 monkeys that escaped from South Carolina research facility. Now this gets really, really sus. We can get a little schizo with it because 43 is a big ritualistic number of the Illuminati. The Illuminati founder died on November 18th out of Weishaupt. This is why Drake has a song called November 18th. It's the 322 day of the year. This year, it actually lands on November 17th because of leap years, but it leaves 43 days until the end of the year. There's this huge 43 ritual. We saw Gangsta Boo pass away at 43, and that driver who was number 43 passed away back in 2003. That was a huge ritual connected to Miley Cyrus and whatnot. But we've been seeing some predictive programming with all the monkey stuff. I mean, the three. I can't say a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to show a couple of it. Y'all know what I mean. They put up this big statue. They had this movie come out called Bad Monkey. Ooh ah 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 ah.
What
Even
was
that.
that?
Ooh ah 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 ah. That's like the sickness. Get down with the sickness, and that seems to be predictive programming as well. And then here's Project Cheney talking about bored apes and showing all the Hanuman right here. Obama carries a Hanuman with him everywhere he goes. So he carries this Hanuman with him everywhere he goes. So we already saw the predictive programming happen this year, warming the subconscious up with this priming for some sort of monkey event. And you've been looking into this story more than me. I haven't even looked into it. I want to look into it with y'all, but you've already pointed out way too many scary stuff that we're going to dive into.
Well, I just was looking at the company, which had an interesting name, Alpha Genesis, which sounds like something you'd come across in a Resident Evil game. And then I was looking at what town this Alpha Genesis company was at, and this was the part that was interesting. It's supposed to be like a fairly large facility that does this. They specialize in monkey research. Basically, companies can hire them to say, "Hey, give the monkeys this product that I'm making and see what happens to them." Simplifying that, but you can buy all sorts of monkey bioproducts, tissue samples, like little chunks of monkey, I assume, chunky monkey. And the town that this is in is called Yamasi, South Carolina, and it's one of the smallest towns in South Carolina. It's got a population of about 800 people in it. So if you consider that 43 monkeys were in this facility, and there was 800 people that actually lived there, the monkeys themselves actually constitute of 5% of the population of this town. So imagine 5% of the population is monkeys here, bio research monkeys in particular. And some of the things that they were testing on these monkeys were the products that got pushed out in 2019 to 2020. I'm not going to say what they were, but now all of those experimental monkeys are out, and I guess they said that they've located them, but they have not recaptured any of them.
Oh man. Okay, so they're doing some experiments on these monkeys. What else you got on it?
This is just the most random tangent note, but they do have the 2020 census of this town, Yamasi, South Carolina. And I just thought it was interesting that there's exactly one Asian person in the entire city that filled out the census. Which I don't know, it's probably awkward being knowing that you are literally the only Asian person in the entire town. And I guess ironically, most of the monkeys that they have at that facility are all Chinese monkeys.
Okay, I gotcha. And so here's the website. Interesting website. It looks like they work with what is this below of them? They endorse a lot of companies that are connected to some crazy stuff. I mean,
my eye laser focused on Yale as soon as this thing loaded up.
Yeah, so they're connected and endorse Yale 322 Skull and Bones Yale. I'm not gonna say all of the
yes, I can't even say some of the things that they're into.
They got the Red Cross, wildlife fun. So this right here, people don't understand. This is connected to the alien agenda. This is connected to Julian Huxley created the Wildlife Fund, the World Wildlife Fund. And all the stuff you hear about, we got to save the planet, is all tying back to this eugenics program. So they just, the PR propaganda is pretty crazy looking into that. I mean, crazy. Alpha
also, this image and the phrase "the giving back" was a little bit extra creepy when you look at what some of the services this company provides. When they say tissue samples, like you could straight up and be like, yo, I want a monkey back. Like I want a monkey's back to do research on. And they'll just be like, all right, one monkey back coming right up, I assume. And I mean, it's a business. They're running a business here. It's not a charity. But some of the phrasing on this website was like, we're the most cost effective, the quickest turnaround, you know, like we'll make sure you double your profits on your monkey research stuff. Like this is a wham bam sort of shop.
Oh man, that's
And it's
wild.
extra creepy that it's all like stock photography of monkeys and of people working there. I immediately was wondering, like, what does this facility really
Yeah,
look like?
it's like a crappy website that they just took stock photos. Like, yeah, it's absolutely weird.
Someone
It's
needs to infiltrate this place with like a
no, no,
camera,
no,
hidden
no, no,
camera,
no, no.
Minecraft.
We don't want anybody to do anything. I'm scared of this story. I just want to move on from it. Like, yeah, that's bringing back some trauma from 2019 vibes right there. Um, you know what I mean? But it's interesting that RFK, who wants to make everything healthy again, saying that the first day Trump gets in on 120, they're going to remove the fluoride out of the water, which is something I've been screaming to do to my family, and showing them the Harvard studies as well of how it's terrible for you. But just weird. We'll see. We'll
Well,
see
I
what
heard
happens.
too, like red 40s on notice, yellow 5s on notice. He had a video where he was basically calling out Fruit Loops, like Fruit Loops are on notice, a lot of these things. And I don't know how I feel, man. Like part of it is like the American right to buy as much junk food as you want, but also it does feel somewhat satanic and intentional about just pumping kids up with these bright, colorful, sugary cereals. And I mean, RFK rightfully called out, he was like, this all started in the 90s. And I was like, damn, that's kind of when I grew up, you know, eating all that crap was in the 1990s.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, it was late, early 80s, but wasn't cognizant back then. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it was like for people to just be eating straight Kellogg's cornflakes with nothing on top. Although that also came from a eugenicist. So what do I know?
And the way that we've been so food controlled from the 90s, I grew up eating all this stuff, you know, and the way that we get mind controlled ever since a kid is they put, when next time you go to the grocery store, look at the bottom aisle down here. This is where all the colorful fun stuff is, because that's the height of the kids. So the kids see the stuff down here. See up here is like, who wants this healthy Wheaties? But down below is where you get Lucky Charms and stuff like that. Usually when you go to a supermarket. So we've been being manipulated and pimped by the Illuminacho, PepsiCo industry ever since we were kids. And I mean, it just brings back so many memories to my taste buds looking at the Apple
Well,
Jacks.
and the toys, man. There was something unique about like going to buy a cereal that you didn't even like, but they had the dopest toy that month or whatever. That was like a whole nother element that's not really present anymore. And I mean, again, this is how strong that programming was for little kids. And I don't know, good and bad that that's kind of gone now, because again, like I was eating cereal that I didn't even want just because I had a decoder ring in it.
For real, though, I know exactly what you're talking about. And we just smashed through over 1,000 people. I like to remind everybody every time we pass through 1,000 people to please smash that like button, share the video out. I am joined with Paranoid American, and we're doing these streams every single day, pumping y'all up, getting excited for the illuminaticomic.com. Let's see if we pass through the 700. We had 698. We just need 2 more subscribers for this Illuminati comic. I think I exited out of it accidentally. For this Illuminati comic. 1 second. Oh, we just need one more person. Let's pass through this. You just go to the notify me, and we're gonna be dropping this in just a couple of days. illuminaticomic.com on 11/11. So we doing these streams every night at 11/11. Tomorrow we're gonna be joined by Brother Ani Asaru at the Spiritual Shade Room, and we're gonna be going over penguins, Illuminati penguins, mind control, hypnosis, mesmerism, NLP, superheroes, bunch of fun stuff. So Friday night, make sure to come on over here at 11/11, which would be Eastern time, because we're dropping this comic on in like 3 days on 11/11. So
And someone was asking in the comments, yeah, it's a physical comic. We'll have a digital version in case you don't want to have it shipped or you just want it convenient. We're gonna have the classic black and white, which all the paranoid pamphlets are in. But for the first time, and maybe the only time, we're also gonna have a special color edition of this, where every single page, over 100 panels, are all colored in, which I've never done before in any of these little like pamphlet style comics. So yeah, you can get it printed, you can get it digital, and a whole slew of other things that we're going to be throwing in some of these packs. And we'll tease them over the next couple nights. We'll tease exactly what you're getting.
Yeah, I'm so pumped up to drop it. Now, another huge thing out in the news is the AOL founder, not the founder, but the guy who does You've Got Mail. Like they made that Tom Hanks movie, You've Got Mail, where Dave Chappelle was his best friend. And you guys already know he opened up the inauguration, so he's part of the Biden regime. And AOL, it's the Illuminati pyramid and the eye. That's the symbol of it. I've been using AOL.
That's that eye of Tenet, man.
It's Tenet. It's the eye of Tenet. That is Tenet right there, baby. On the run.
I actually go back a little bit with AOL. That was the thing that originally we got at home, be able to connect to the internet in like the mid 90s. But at that time too, this was between AOL 2.5 and I don't know how far I used it, maybe like version 8 or something. But right in that sweet spot at AOL 2 to AOL 3 or 4, I was running with some rough cyber cowboys on the interwebs, and we made these things called progs or proggies or scrollers or punters.
Was that you right there? Was that you?
That's actually me. I was in this commercial. Yeah, I'm actually in the background though. I walked behind after they cut this. But the premise, I mean, if anyone doesn't know what proggies were and progs and punters and scrollers and all this stuff, at some point AOL was so rudimentary, man. Like it was made by teenagers essentially, or people that were just figuring out this new world of the internet. And someone figured out that if you send someone a message and set the font size to like 999 million repeating or something, and then sent them a message, it would show up for a split second on their computer, but then their computer would just shut down because it would actually try to render a font that was so much bigger than their memory could handle. And AOL didn't have any built-in defense. Windows didn't have any built-in defense. It was actually kind of fun for the longest time, and just a whole series of other exploits like that. But this was like little 12 or 13-year-old paranoid American was just hacking AOL for like a good 5 or 6 years. And that's how I cut my teeth on the internet. I cut my teeth on just like hacking AOL programs.
Oh, that's wild. I've never even heard of this prog, because I've been using AOL ever since I was a little kid. I was like,
yeah, bro. So progs with a Z, PROGZ, or sometimes proggies, they were basically these huge suites that had the thing that I just mentioned was called a punter. That was like a font punter. But they also had things called scrollers that would jump into chat rooms and just spam the hell out of them with like
these things,
so that you couldn't know. That's ASCII art. That was another thing that
I remember these. I was always like, that's so cool. How do they do that?
I collaborated with some really well-known ASCII artists in the mid to late 90s. One of them was a guy named Baby that I think was living in New York, and he did like an official Gwen Stefani No Doubt ASCII art that kind of blew up for a little while. And then he went on to make the headers for all the Where's groups that would come with these info files. And at the top, they all had their little tags and everything. It was a moment in time, man. It was like the golden era of internet. That was back when you could search conspiracy theory and all you found were conspiracies, and there was no personalities. There was nobody taking the limelight. It was just like articles.
And I was a little kid. I was a little elementary school kid, and I thought I was talking to like hot chicks or something. I was probably talking to these two dudes.
What, or worse, bro.
Or worse. I was just trying to watch it to see if there was any like symbolism in the commercial. I got a couple different videos I want to pull up. I think this is where Bill went mad. You've seen this video, the dancing video?
Yeah, it was Steve Ballmer.
I don't know who Steve Ballmer is.
That's the guy right there with the bald head. He goes way crazier than anyone. He starts screaming.
Yeah, but I think this is where Bill
he does his little dance, yeah.
Well, I think this is where he made his decision to really become
to end us all.
So look at his face at the very end. Like
he's thinking right now, as long as no one hits me in the face with a pie, I'll let you all live.
That there's something up with that. This is a spicy video today. We might have to take this one down. I think this whole monkey thing is hella sketchy.
I mean, this is how all of the scary movies start, right?
Well, so the Elle Wood guy, the guy who says you got mail, he died. It said November 6th right here. No, November 5th, I mean. He died on November 5th, and then he died on November 6th. That's crazy. Oh man. That's some big news. AOL this is like all this information gets sent to CERN. It's all connected. The World Wide Web, CERN, AOL. It's just so weird to watch everything kind of happen. And there was a day in 1996 where AOL went off for 19 hours. And it just seems like there's a lot of 19s involved in stuff. And the day that the America Online AOL went offline for 19 hours, this is what's going to happen for the reset of the internet, is that kind of stuff. And it's just interesting. It went down for 19 hours. We had the 19 event, the 19 hijackers as well. And 19 is AI, 1 is A, 9 is I. Oh, look at this right here.
I remember that, man. This was also an interesting point in time to realize that there were like two classes of internet citizens in the mid-90s, especially if they used AOL, because a lot of people didn't even realize that once you connected to AOL, you could just minimize it and open up Netscape Navigator or some other browser, and then you had the entire internet at your fingertips. But it seemed that a majority of people that used AOL exclusively, they would log in and they would look through these screenshots, and to them, this was the entire internet. It would be the equivalent of someone that just turns on the computer, logs into Facebook, and just stays on Facebook and never leaves it, and doesn't even know that there's any website outside of Facebook, and everything comes through Facebook. This is kind of what AOL started as.
I had AOL. I was doing all of that. But at my school, nobody had it. So I remember when they started installing computers in my high school. I had computer at home in elementary school. So I was doing AOL. I was trying to figure out video stuff and all that. I was uploading videos before YouTube even existed. And I remember when they brought the computer to the high school, and none of these kids seen a computer before, and it was like they were seeing a new tool, like watching them like use it, and
Hitting
then
it with
all
sticks.
the viruses just like everywhere, the computer stuff happening. I shouldn't even said that word.
You're good. I think you're allowed to talk about computer viruses.
I think so, yeah, because it's all connected. Oh man, so that's huge news. What do you guys think? Put your comments in below, because this is sort of a new story. And I pulled up a bunch of slides on a bunch of different things happening in the world right now, just weird stuff. Liberal women are going on a sex strike over the Trump win, over the Trump landslide. Um, the liberal women are not going to be procreating, which is something that's already been going on. Elon Musk tweeted this out. This is why I've been trying to show everybody here on the Donut Factory the fertility slump, because this is going to be big news within the next 3-4 years. That there's a fertility collapse happening. And when he shared this out, he shared out the Illuminati number, the 201. So it's just interesting that it just adds on top of the fertility slump. And paranoid, you said it's connected to something in South Korea, remember?
I just briefly read over this, but yeah, there's like a movement called 4B, and that's as far as that I really I really understand about it. I don't know why it's called 4B. What is it? What's happening in South Korea where they're doing this? And I also saw one of those freak out videos where someone was like, "I'm not 4B. I'm not even 5B or 6B. I'm 7B." So what does 7B mean? Is that
Okay,
like
so
7 years without?
thank you for explaining that. I didn't know that. So the South Korean 4B movement, I guess, is leading this pack maybe of the liberal women in America not wanting to procreate anymore. But South Korea has been having the worst fertility slump. South Korea invested more than $1 billion in programs to increase its fertility rates as it's collapsing. They're paying people money to bang. It cost them more than $270 billion. They're like, take this money and have kids, because our society is collapsing. Nobody's having kids. And so it's just like adding on to it. This is happening in America as well.
Japan too. It's hitting Japan really hard right now. I think they're currently at the lowest fertility rate that they've ever had in like decades, and probably ever in recorded history so far. And that one's gonna be a huge shocker to both of us, to our country and to Japan.
Yeah, so in Japan, what's happening? There's a city in Japan where the guys don't leave their house. They just sit at home addicted to looking at their screen. They just stare at their screen and they can't leave their house. A lot similar to what I do at home. And their parents bring them food. So they're like, that's their life.
I
And
saw this episode of South Park. This was the World of Warcraft episode.
oh, really? With
Yeah, where
Cartman,
like
where he's
Carmen doesn't,
pooping?
all the kid, yeah, they all like sit in the basement and they just shout at his mom to come and bring him food, and that's their existence.
Exactly. That's exactly South Park. Oh, I love South Park, bro.
Oh god.
That's the best episode. Oh man, that's so funny. So that's going on in the news right now. Harvard also is, I mean, a total corrupt institution. Harvard professor cancels classes as students feel blue after Trump win. um, which says a lot um, with Harvard, um, where they stand in the
But
world.
and I don't think they're really doing any favors with the paranoia that I guess a lot of academia has, rightfully so, but to talk about basically dismantling some of these large government programs. And I couldn't tell, I still can't tell if everyone is joking about Department of Education getting shut down and kind of like whittled out, which I think came around like the 70s or something. Um, I feel like I would be in favor for that. I would be absolutely in favor for getting rid of the Department of Education. But now you see these kind of stories, right? And this doesn't seem like it would instill confidence. Like, if anything, the academic system does need a complete rehaul so that these kind of things don't seem so natural. Like, I don't know if one of the best things you could ever learn is the fact that you still got to go to work in the morning, even if your presidential candidate doesn't win. Or maybe not. Maybe that's the new world that I just don't understand, is that the new normal is that whenever something bad happens to half the country, work is just canceled the next day. Just no one goes to work for a day. That could be the new normal.
And Harvard is like, Epstein had his own office there. Epstein, I'm 100% sure, was a Knights of Malta, as he's got the Maltese cross on his watch. Harvard Psychedelic Club, where Timothy Leary taught the psychology department, and same department that Jordan Peterson was teaching at. Here's Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson's the Timothy Leary for the anal retentive. It's for people who want order. Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson is Timothy Leary. But instead of chaos, he brings order. And you gotta clean your room.
And beyond the Stanford prison is a crazy one. There was another reference that in 1978, during a lot of the MK Ultra disclosure, it was also disclosed that Harvard got somewhere around $78,000 in funding directly from CIA MK Ultra program sometime between the 1950s and 1960s.
Really?
And yeah, this was reported in the Boston Globe in February of 1978. So this isn't just like conspiracy conjecture. This was something that they actually came out and had to disclose because the paperwork had gotten leaked already. This was part of the church committee hearings, I believe, and what they call the family jewels. If you look up CIA family jewels church committee, you'll see all of the research that originally came out that forced them to start admitting all these things. If I think a lot of people have seen the clip where they've got the little the little pew pew device that emits
a heart attack gun.
yeah, the heart. I don't want to say the word. I don't know. I don't want to say all the words, but that
I'm
was
sorry.
part of this like disclosure that happened in the 70s.
Oh wow. Okay, interesting. Now this is all gonna kind of tie into the Pilgrim Society a little bit. These compromised campuses like Stanford University, when this was going down, they were doing these experiments of wearing sunglasses and pretty much making people into prisoners. It was a psychological experiment. And these people that are influencers today in the red pill space, they're all coming from the Stanford prison experiment, in my opinion. I believe so, because they use the same tactics, and their parents were at these schools at this time that these experiments were being conducted.
There's more than a few Mr. Beast videos that I've seen that looked almost identical to what a Stanford prison experiment footage would look like.
For
And there was
real?
yeah, absolutely. Where they have like competitions who can, like some of them are more silly in nature, but they have some that there's like positions of authority that are given to people, and that's just another version of the Stanford prison experiment.
You see how they wear the glasses? So whenever you see these influencers wearing glasses, Don't not you, paranoid. You're okay.
I'm
You're
one of the
fine.
good ones.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm talking about mainstream. I'm talking about
All right,
you're going on. You're
good,
going
'cause
on.
I don't want to lose these
Yeah.
glasses. I get too many compliments.
You're going on these big shows. You're going on Piers Morgan. You're getting promoted by Fox News. You're getting promoted by the mainstream conglomerates. Wearing the glasses is part of the mind control process. And paranoid, them glasses look amazing. Look at me.
Okay, I appreciate that. I've got an excuse to wear these now.
Don't worry, bro. I got mine on too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Stanford represent.
Make sure you smash that like button. You are tuning into all your Illuminati news, and we are here with Paranoid American. We're covering all the monkey business going on right now. We got escaped monkeys happening. Just perfect time. We're going to be covering the Pilgrim Society. We just talked about AOL. But most importantly, I want y'all to smash that like button. We got tons of people up in here, and we're going live every single night for the Earn night for the illuminaticomic.com. illuminaticomic.com. We about to drop this. I wonder if we passed through the 700. Do you think we did?
I absolutely think we did.
Let's see. I'm going to refresh it. Damn, we way past it. We got 706 now. Paranoid, tell them what to do.
What you got to do is you're going to sign up for this. We're going to get this number as high as possible. And you might be asking, why even have a pre-sign up? Why not just go to this site and you're already back in the project? Well, the main reason is because the second that this thing drops at 11:11 a.m. Eastern on 11/11, we probably need everyone that has signed up that actually wants to back this to back it at that exact moment. We want to basically flood the servers at Kickstarter so that someone gets called in the middle of the afternoon and they say, oh my God, what's going on this page? Go check this thing out. And they go and they say, oh no, it's normal. This thing is just blowing up. In fact, it's blowing up so hard. Maybe we should put this on the front page. Maybe we should add this to the email newsletter that they send out to all the normies out there. So in addition to all the weird woke 2024 and project 2025 crap that they're going to be sending out anyways, they get to tag in this Illuminati comic. The best possible scenario here is that not only does everyone watching this and everyone that cares about Illuminati get a copy, but normies get flooded with this thing and they wonder, how is this thing blowing up? Why are there so many people backing this? What even is the Illuminati? I know I've heard about it. Is that a picture of Doja Cat? Is that Tony Montana? What are all these people doing in here? This looks interesting. That's P. Diddy? Okay, I'm in.
That looks like P. Diddy, yeah.
It's P. Diddy and Prince Andrew. So, and if you're watching this, you're like, what are all these things mean? Why is that guy getting hit by a strike of lightning? Why do we see his bones like flashing? All of this gets explained right more. There. And this comic is so much more than a comic. It's basically a little memory palace to where every time that you open this up and you look at one of these graphics, it's going to represent so much information. And we're going to show you how to encode all that information. So you could take this and just conjure up these images in your mind and be able to just talk about the historical Illuminati to whoever you want. You will be guaranteed an expert in the Bavarian Illuminati just as much as any influencer you've ever seen a video on. And I know that for sure because me and Donut have read every damn book that's ever been written about the Illuminati from the 1800s until today. And we've been spending the last year plus summarizing all this and boiling it down into the most digestible and most interesting pieces of all of this. So this is something that, you know, I'm excited about it because it has to exist out in the world. It's crazy that it doesn't exist yet. So we're going to fix a wrong that's been occurring for the last century.
Oh man, I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited. So thank you everyone who signed up. We passed our goal of passing through 700.
We got so many votes. We don't even need your votes. We don't even need you to vote. We got it. That's what Trump was saying. They were getting angry about him about that on the news.
Let's see if we can get it past 800 by tomorrow. We're going to be streaming with Anya Saru tomorrow night, 11:11. We're dropping this on 11:11. Let's see if we can get it to 800 by tomorrow night. That'd be super dope.
Someone in the chat was asking how much of what Fritz said in the 90s was true. Guess what? Fritz Springmeier is also in the Illuminati comic. He's in a little lineup in the back. He gets his props because he also contributed to this. John Todd is in this comic. I can't think of any comic book outside of Chick Tracks that mention John Todd at all. So honestly, if you think that there's something in here that's too obscure or too niche or like too deep down the rabbit hole, it's not. It's in this.
I did a podcast with Fritz Springmeier.
Respect.
I've done a podcast with Santos Bonacci too, and Jordan Maxwell. Yeah, yep. I still got. I look, everybody. I've emailed David a bunch of times.
Oh, speaking of, bro, I got an interview with David Icke in 4 days from now.
Are you serious?
On the 12th, we're interviewing. I don't think it's going to be live.
With Realities Are?
With my co-host Nate from Realities Ours. We're interviewing for the second time on that, and I'm going to try and talk about AI for pretty much most of the episode, along with the new book that he just put out, which is why he's going on like another podcast talk circuit. But yeah, I wanted, maybe I'll bring up AOL. Like, hey David, what did you think about AOL back in the day? That might be a cool avenue to go down.
Do that, yeah, and send him a copy of the Illuminati comic for sure.
100%.
I am me. I am free.
And you're naked.
And I'm naked. You have the naked version?
I don't have it anymore. I used to have it because I bought pretty much all his books when I got into the military, and I was just like going down weird rabbit holes because I had a lot of spare time sitting around doing like guard duty work. So
yeah, I got all.
Man, those are some super OG. I was more into his videos. I remember watching his videos nonstop, and this is like in a weird time of my life because I realized, what is it about me? Like, what's wrong with me that I sit down and I'll watch 4-6 hours of David Icke talking about Caucasus Mountains and aliens and like Illuminati, and like I'm fascinated. Like there was nothing else that you could show me. No movie, no TV show, no video game that was as interesting as watching these documentaries or like these lectures that David Icke was putting out. And then I'm trying to get all my friends in college, like, yo, check this out. This is so crazy. And like, people would sit down for like 10, 15 minutes and just be like, all right, I'm kind of bored. I don't know what he's talking about, and like leave. And I couldn't figure out like, what am I seeing that they're not? Or what is it like that they're seeing is so much more interesting about the Daily Show or whatever, that they're not wanting to just sit here and watch David Icke videos with me. And I didn't find anyone like that until I started streaming and meeting people like you. So.
Well, so I also watched all the videos. I was on that big kick that like he did. There was a video called "Jews and the Reptilians." I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
That was the one that was trying to debunk David Icke, wasn't it? That was
oh, BBC, it was okay. Because I remember I would be hella triggered. I'd see it. I'd be like, "Oh, f this guy!" Oh, right, And then I was like bored one night, stoned or something, and I was like, "I'm gonna watch this." And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I guess Jordan Maxwell brought him to America or something. That's what Jordan used to say.
That's one of the best imports that we've ever got from Britain was David Icke.
Yeah, I would love to talk to him. I'm just a big fan of him artistically.
I'll put in a good word. Not that it means anything, but I'll put it in.
Yeah, put in a good word.
I'll use some NLP technique. I'll try to slip it in, bro. He might be too much of a black belt, but we'll see.
Do some NLP on David Icke and have him come on to this with me and you and him.
I'll be like, David, do you know about, and like I'll just start slipping all these little donuts into the conversation. We'll get it there.
That would be so gangster. But I'll definitely watch. Everybody make sure to go subscribe to Paranoid American. I got his links down below. I got his YouTube down below. So you can check out his David Icke interview happening in a couple days. That's amazing. Your second one.
I'm lucky, man. Yeah, it's crazy to be able to talk to someone that kind of like raised me from a conspiratorial point of view.
For sure. I really like the I am me, I am free. That's all I would talk about is that book. Um, the dude, the dude, the dude hangs dong. Is that how you say it? Is that how the kids say it these days?
The what? Do
the,
hang dong?
the dude hangs dong. He's
This is
naked on the cover, hanging the dong.
okay. Oh, he hangs dong. I don't know what these kids are talking about with the skibbity toilets and the Riz.
Oh, the skibbity? Yeah, okay. So y'all you don't know about the skibbity?
I mean, I know what it is.
You just said it.
The reason that I know about skibbity is because when I put together my little play sets, the little like Lego based minifigure play sets, I'll scout the Chinese sites for all the knockoff stuff to figure out the best pieces to put together. And for the longest time, it was like, here's our hottest seller. And it's like, who is out there buying Lego toilets with little heads in them? And apparently it was this whole trend, but I saw it coming from the Chinese minifig manufacturers way before it even kind of hit the States. Like no one was talking about it in the States. I was just like seeing these onslaught of toys, and then slowly I started seeing the memes and the videos, and I finally put two and two together.
Yes. So this is skibbity. So all y'all millennials and boomers, this is the generation Z. I guess we're going to be coming up on generation alpha, but I don't know how alpha they're going to be. They're going to be pretty.
That's great, dude. What was the name of that monkey company? Wasn't it called
Alpha Genesis?
Alpha Genesis? Alpha generation.
Okay. Let me see when this alpha generation's happening, because the skibbity, I heard about it. There's a BLP kosher track. He's like, I'll be playing songs in Ohio. I am not skibbity. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? And I'm Googling skibbity, and all that's popping up is this dude in the toilet. And then I'm out and about, and this Gen Z's like, yo, dog, yeah, no skibbity, haha, no diddy, no skibbity. And he wouldn't tell me what it was. So I threw him against the wall, and I started punching him. I started bashing the kid. I was like, what the F is no skibbity? And until he was done with it, then he says, it's just something that we do. It has no meaning. It's just a mess with y'all millennials and boomers. That's what he said, but maybe it's a lie. Maybe he's still messing with me.
If this doesn't already exist, someone needs to make it. Maybe that person is me if I got free time outside of this campaign, but there needs to be a Black Street remix of No Skibbity.
No skibbity. You got the back end up. No skibbity. You got the back.
It's about the toilet backing up. No.
So this is skibbity, y'all. So y'all learning it here first. So we don't look like fools. I already look like a fool in front of a Gen Z because I didn't know what no skibbity meant.
No, you got to know the skibbity. You got to go in flexing. You got to mew. You got to Riz. You got to do all the things. And just by us saying this, it's like already setting expiration dates on these words.
Yeah, they also say bricked up. That means like they're like,
I get that.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
So let's see when Genesis Alpha
Generation Alpha, but you're already typing Alpha Genesis.
Weird. I looked up alpha, and what popped up in my Google search was alpha skibbity.
What is alpha skibbity?
I don't know, but bro, I looked up alpha, and alpha skibbity toilet popped up, and this popped up. This just skibbity toilets. Alpha was a major antagonist. Purple alien worked for the master of the skibbity toilets, planning to kill him. Yeah, I am so like, I'm like a boomer now.
You know what it is too, though? It's like at a certain age, you don't have to care about any of that. It's like, okay, yeah, you're confusing me. Anyways, I got all this other real world adult stuff going on.
Bro, Generation Alpha was already born. They're born. Well, you probably already knew this. They're 2010 to 2025. So whoever was born in 2010 is an Generation Alpha.
Right. They're going to be the next ones that are entering the workforce over the next 5 years or so, right? Because this is
Yeah,
uh
they're the
they,
ones using the
they'd be like
drone.
14 right now. So in 1 or 2 years, they're getting their first jobs at McDonald's or wherever else, influencers or trading Bitcoin at high levels and GameStop or whatever they're doing. This is the next wave of adults that we're going to see out in the world. This is Generation Alpha, which also implies that the generation right behind it's going to be Generation Beta. And I feel like there's already going to be some like weird synthesized animosity between them, like I'm alpha or like I'm beta, and then they're gonna have to redefine what beta means because now it's gonna have to lose the pejorative aspect of it. It's gonna be like it feels manufactured in a way.
So these alpha generation kids are the 14-year-old fighting ages that the Stanford research Andrew Tate kind of psyops. That's like their age.
I mean, yeah, because it said 2010 to 2025, so 2010 is 14 years ago from right now.
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, they're all those kids are getting put through a psychological operation.
I think we all were.
Yeah, we all are, but like it looks like we got a super chat over on Paranoid's page.
Oh my God, love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Patrick Golson 1516. You want to read it?
Let's see, Paranoid American and Donut always go deep. I appreciate you guys doing the work and breaking it down. And we're not going to stop. We're just ramping up on all this. Wait until we start breaking down the real Bavarian Illuminati. We'll give a whole bunch of little insights on this. And I feel like we should start breaking down the Pilgrim Society too. That's probably the craziest thing that came up today.
Okay, so the Pilgrim Society popped up. I'm on this huge like Knights of Malta kind of thing. Looking into all this stuff and learning. And so I got a bunch of slides that are all over the place. But I saw someone post how Tucker Carlson, who's getting like these massages by demons, was part of the Pilgrim Society through this paper. Now I can't prove it. I don't know. I just saw this, so it made me start going down this rabbit hole. And the Pilgrim Society, you got some big players in here. You got Henry Luce, who we talked about on the last episode, who created the leftist Time magazine that made Hitler Man of the Year. You also got his wife, who is a Dame of Malta, just like he's a Knights of Malta. This is like what got me down this rabbit hole. And she made Vanity Fair, which is a total leftist organization as well. Henry whatever, Henry Kissinger as well is part of the Pilgrim Society. And so that's how I found
so many
about
more. So Henry Luce was also Skull and Bones. Walter Cronkite was in the society. Walter Cronkite was the voice of the cremation of care ritual at Bohemian Grove for so many years. When even in that, that video of Alex Jones and they sneak in and you hear this voice echoing and it's like, who goes there? Ha, 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 or whatever. That's Walter Cronkite. That he did the voice for the Bohemian Grove cremation of care ritual for decades. And in addition to all those people.
The Illuminati eye just chilling
for
right
the CBS. But dude, there's some other crazy references of people that were in the notable members here. So for example, the Dulles brothers, CIA director Alan Dulles, and then Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, they were members.
Where does it say that?
It's on the Pilgrim Society page, and if you keep going all the way down, there's a whole section on just notable this notable members here.
Okay, so Alan Dulles was also Knights of Malta. And this is why I don't understand why Candace Owens and Alex Jones don't bring this up. They leave this out. They blame everything on Jews and they leave that shit out.
And I mean, speaking of the Jews, Alan Dulles, he got part of his rise to fame and some of his political capital by being one of the first to write on.
Oh yeah, that's right. So what was his job on the It's such a sensitive word. I would call
He's
it.
I'm just gonna say the P's of Z's, but
Yeah,
the P's of Z's, he did some of the research to indicate that it was basically a plagiarism and it was a hoax and it had been repurposed from other materials. And that was before he had any political capital. It's one of the first projects that he worked on, and it was very popular and it gained him lots and lots of political capital. And another interesting aspect that ties into comic books is that Will Eisner, of Disney fame, he ended up creating a book called The P's of Z's. I'm not saying the whole thing, that was based on Alan Dulles' research into it. So
oh,
now you got
really?
a Disney connection to the Dulles brothers, to the CIA.
And the
It
Dulles brother, I mean, the Disney connection. Also, Disney was a Nazi.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, no, I would say no. Disney was absolutely not a Nazi, because a Nazi would refer to the political stance of the German, nationalists and everything. What Disney was probably by modern day terms anti-Semitic, but his version of anti-Semitic was fueled mostly by his experience in trying to get his movies distributed and produced, and kept running up against what he perceived as like these rulers of Hollywood. And he kind of made it part of his life's mission to figure out a way to work outside of that network that he kind of despised so much. But
That's
to call him Nazis a little extreme, just
okay.
because he also
It
was.
just it just like Jordan
Well,
Max.
he was a strong. Yeah, no, don't get too mad at Disney. He definitely had some flaws, but he also was heavy into the U.S. propaganda. Like, he was a major war hawk for World War II. And in fact,
Really?
they transitioned a lot of the animated feature length movies they were doing, and they started exclusively making World War II propaganda films. One of the most famous ones was actually a theatrical release called Victory by Air Power, and it was essentially half propaganda, half educational, half Disney animated movie that you'd bring your kids to see. But it talked about how you need to use less metal, how to contribute, how to buy war bonds, and like contribute to this war effort. But he also explained in detail why it was air power that was going to win them all this for us, and that every other war before now, before World War II and even parts of World War One, but that a lot of those were naval encounters, and that World War II became unique. It was the first time that they actually had a serious amount of firepower, and specifically the U.S. and the Royal Air Force, I believe, those combined, they dominated, and that was the main reason that they were able to do that. I mean, also lots of indiscriminate bombings. We won't go too much into that rabbit hole.
Well, also Disney is like an MK Ultra mind control project with Britney Spears and all that.
Well, and you
Disney
got,
did.
yeah, he worked with NASA. So if you want to say NASA was Nazis, yeah, factually correct. So yeah, I guess
Well,
it was
there's
a weird dynamic.
this is why I dive so hard on it, is just because he had one of Hitler's really close buddies,
Two.
Werner
He
von
had
Braun.
he had two. He had Werner von Braun, and he had I'm blanking on the other name, but there were two major hitters that came directly from the Nazi Party through Project Paperclip, and he puts them on TV and he turns them into stars. Von Braun was a little bit more like camera friendly, or at least liked the attention more so than the other guys. Hans Faber, I think. Hans Faber is the other guy that came over that Disney also gave a lot of like airtime to.
Well, this guy, Werner von Braun, he wrote the book about a guy named a group named Elon to colonize Mars, which is just
I didn't know that.
you didn't know that for
I
real?
didn't know that he wrote a book about a guy named Elon that colonizes Mars. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this Operation Paperclip Nazi scientist that moved over to America to work with Disney, the rocket program stuff. He was a rocket program scientist. He wrote a book called The Mars Project, and it's about a group named Elon. The group's titled Elon, and their mission was to go colonize Mars. And now Elon is going to colonize Mars with this rocket program. So, I mean, at Disney, it seems like everything on the world stage is part of this MK Ultra, mind control, and all that. But I digress. My bad. I'm sorry.
Well, let's start poking a couple of these other notable members. That some of them are really heavy hitters. You got William Averill Harriman. The Harriman family are also legacy Skull and Bones members. In addition to,
where's that? Say that.
It's right under the Allen Dulles, John Foster Dulles, and then about 4 names under that says Ambassador W. Averill Harriman. And William Averill Harriman. So the Harriman brothers also, they were in the Jekyll Island Hunt Club, which was basically the group that ushered in the Federal Reserve. So this family name Harriman brothers, they go back deep. This is actually where the Bush dynasty got their start as well. I believe Prescott Bush ended up working for the Harriman brothers. He might have worked alongside of them. But this is like super OG. You know that story about Bush and Skull and Bones digging up Geronimo's skull and bringing it to the tomb? It was with 2 of the Harriman brothers that he did this.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. How did you learn about this?
I wrote a comic book called Geronimo's Grave where we detailed all of the historical accounts of this, and a lot of these don't come from conjecture. This comes from a diary about them going out on that night and digging up Geronimo's bones. And they claimed way after the fact, like, oh, this was just a creative writing experiment. This was just a fictional, but like they mentioned all the real details. I believe it was at Fort Sill that they dug all the bones up, and they documented like how like the flesh was still attached to them. And I'm not going to get into the visceral details, but they go into detail.
Nuts. That's freaking nuts, bro. I'm so grateful that you're here. And that's why I'm so grateful that I got to team up with you on this Illuminati comic. We just passed the hour mark. I want to remind everybody that we're doing these live streams. Paranoid American. I got Paranoid American's website where you can go buy that Skull and Bones comic book, right?
Yeah, it's in an anthology called Paranoid American History. It's also on Amazon if you prefer shopping on Amazon, getting that free quick shipping, or if you're international and you want to get it faster and cheaper, you can check it out on Amazon. No problem with that. Feed the beast a little bit.
I got all those links down below. Go support Paranoid American. Go subscribe to this dude is so wicked smart, and we got to do a comic book with him on the Illuminati. We did the Illuminati comic book, and looks like we just crashed through 717. So let's see if we could get this baby up to 800 by tomorrow night. That would be wonderful. All you got to do is click this link, go to notify me on launch, sign up. Very, very easy. And that's what we're doing. We're doing these live streams every single night with Paranoid. I'm learning so much. I didn't even know how I was going to just learn all this. This is wild. I'm just very excited.
Well, I got another one too. I've mentioned this a few times, but I know I rapid fire it so often. But Henry Luce, the same guy that you mentioned, was running Time Life magazine. He's this leftist. He's also the one man that was responsible for publicizing magic mushrooms and LSD into the modern like popular masses. He specifically took the research of a guy named Robert Gordon Wasson, who was the VP of finance for JP Morgan Jr. It's just one big club and you're not in it. Is that the phrase?
It is.
And they all met up in another secret society or at least a very elite club called the Century Club, which is based out of New York. So you've got, out of these like small handful of people that are also in the Pilgrim Society, which is fairly new to me, but we got representation in Skull and Bones. We got representation in all sorts of major American media. We also got the Dulles brothers. You got deep CIA connections throughout this, and you've got the Jekyll Island Hunt Club. Jekyll Island Hunt Club, in my mind, is like probably the most elite out of any of these groups that you could have been a part of.
Okay, why is that? Because of the Federal Reserve?
Jekyll, not just because of the Federal Reserve, but the Jekyll Island Hunt Club. This sounds so wild, and I still don't understand it fully. But they had the opportunity to create their club anywhere in the world, and they had scouted out a few different places. They were scouting out Rome, they were scouting out some tropical islands, all like literally the entire world was up to them to decide where they wanted to make the perfect club. And they decided the best place in the entire world to have this club was a small island off the coast of southern Georgia. I don't understand that, maybe because I don't enjoy this climate as much, but they said this is the place on the entire planet. This is the best place for us to put up this ultra secret club that you could only get to by boat or by plane. It was incredibly elite. No one else was really getting into this. And they also kind of like forced people to not build these extravagant homes. It was like the weirdest HOA ever. It was the richest people on the planet, but they were supposed to build sort of like log cabin-esque homes, so it didn't look all opulent, but everyone went balls to the wall. Everyone starts putting in like Tiffany glass, and it's honestly one of the cooler places that you can visit if you're ever in South Georgia or North Florida. I highly recommend and going. It's part of Americans' history that a lot of people don't learn about. It's also the location of the first, I think they call it the transcontinental telephone call. This was the very first place, and you see these old pictures that's got like, I think it was Taft maybe at the time, but Alexander Graham Bell was there, and there's these black and white photos of Alexander Graham Bell. It's like first phone call that was taking place at Jekyll Island. Why was this like secret little like tucked away place the birthplace of the phone? This is kind of insane. I stayed at this hotel before too.
Dude, that would be fun to go like there to do like a travel vlog and go there.
Let's go, bro. I've already been there, and I took a secret camera in with me because there's a bunch of places you're not allowed to take photos. So I strapped up with like 2 or 3 cameras poking out of all angles and just walked through all the historic homes in there.
I can't believe the Bell guy as well. That's wild.
And I learned about Jekyll Island through a book called Carnival of Life and Death, which was written by the dude that did King Kill 33. I'm blanking on his name briefly right now. But he ended up writing this really and truly insane book about Alexander Graham Bell being a nudist and running around doing Indian war chants in the middle of this Jekyll Island place. And I remember thinking, this is a little bit beyond. Like, all right, if you want to write historical fiction, then label it as such. But
James
then I
Shelby
found
Downer.
out, bro, James Shelby Downard. Yeah, he's the one that wrote this book, Carnival of Life and Death. And
Yes. It's a crazy book.
He keeps talking about Alexander Graham Bell running around naked and screaming all these like Indian chants. And then after I start looking into this just a little bit more, because I also read a comic book about this one, which was Time Samplers 1, Escape from Jekyll Island. But Alexander Graham Bell was actually one of the most famous advocates of nudity in the early 1900s. He was featured in all sorts of nudity books and magazines as advocating for this. And as soon as I read that, I was like, okay, maybe this James Shelby Downard guy is not so crazy anymore. Maybe there's something to all this.
All right, let's see if we can find any of these naked pictures.
I don't think you're gonna find them on the wiki page, but some of the sources.
I'm just gonna do the research. Just the research.
we're just gonna find out. What did you say was
with peanut
dropping
peanut?
Dong or something? What was it?
Hanging dong.
We're gonna find Alexander Graham Bell hanging dong.
He was hanging dong. He had a dripping hog. Look at that. You see how he has his crotch open like that? That's actually a pose for male models. Like I heard that they teach them to do
Someone
that.
in the comments saying answer the super chat, but I didn't see another super chat. We read out the
one,
right?
Is
there another super chat?
There was, yeah. It was RGZ Max. What up? What up? He says,
David, I don't think so. It might be. Actually, yeah, I think Nate's been going live on all these. So let me see exactly what time it is. If everyone cares about that. It'll be 12 o'clock Eastern if we go live. So make sure that you're subscribed to Reality Czars. I think we only do Rumble and Instagram now, but I'm pretty sure Rumble's the only one that it's gonna stay up on.
Bro, go live. That would be sick. Everybody make sure to go subscribe to Paranoid so you can check out his David Icke interview. That's crazy, bro. That's heavy hitter.
I mean, you know, just a second David Icke interview, nothing big.
That's that heavy hitter, bro.
Yeah, where do we go from here, man? Who comes after David?
Alex.
Alex? I don't know if Alex does interviews anymore. I think you got to get interviewed by Alex.
We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him.
Hey, you know who else is in the Illuminati comic? Alex Jones and David Icke. They're in
and
it.
You also got to get these dope cards. Look, there's a Alex Jones and Bill Hicks baseball card.
Conspiracy cards, and we gotta have a donut card.
You know,
signed, so you can get your signed donut conspiracy card. Bam, there it is.
Oh, snap, look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check. I gotta check on the thing. We were at 717. Oh, now we have 718, bro. Oh, that was cool. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it away. Look at those glasses. You look so cool. You look so cool. We just hit 718. So thank you so much. We're almost at 800. Let's try to get this thing up to 800. But the Pilgrim Society is all connected to like relationships with the British Empire, right? That's what it seems like.
Yeah, this was new to me, and I guess the whole point of the Pilgrim Society is to maintain good relations between UK and United States, politically and otherwise.
Ask David about it. He'll probably know a lot. He's wicked smart.
I heard of the Club of Rome before, and this almost seems like another variation of Club of Rome.
The Walter
this one got Rockefellers in it, and Club of Rome, I believe, was Morgan's. And they kind of were beefing a little bit, the Morgans and the Rockefellers.
Yeah, I bet you they were. They're like, and look, Queen Elizabeth II. Let's see if we can find some other crazy people up on here.
Well, they got Andrew Mellon, which I think is Carnegie Mellon. He's the Mellon and Carnegie Mellon, which another example, Carnegie was one of the members of Jekyll Island Hunt Club too. So, I mean, if you were to take the Pilgrim Society and you matched it up with the Jekyll Island Hunt Club, you basically have every heavy hitter in American history during this whole entire period.
Keep on talking. I gotta let my cat out. He's going crazy.
So, and then the other notable members too, I guess they list them top, but Queen Elizabeth II was a Pilgrim member society. King Charles II was one. This room that you've got showing here, I don't think that this is the Jekyll Island Hunt Club, but they've got a room inside Jekyll Island Hunt Club that's called the Federal Reserve Room. And the Federal Reserve Room is the literal room that they all met clandestinely to discuss establishing the Federal Reserve. And this is like one of the, it reads like an old detective noir novel, but they literally went there in the cloak of night. One of them took a train that double backed into Georgia so that no one that was following them would be able to tell that all of these business magnates and all of these heavy hitters that were basically running American society were all meeting up at the same time at this remote location. Because if anyone got wind of this, then they would have kind of known that something crazy was up and maybe something would have changed to it. This also dovetails into one of my favorite Titanic conspiracies. I think a lot of people have heard how the Titanic was basically intentionally sank in order to eliminate a bunch of people that were opposing the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Another thing, though, is that Morgan, he was the one that owned the Titanic. He had built his own private cabin on the Titanic. And there were 2 or 3 other members in the Jekyll Island Hunt Club that were supposed to go on the Titanic. And they got calls from Morgan. And then they mysteriously canceled their tickets as well. One of those was
Hershey's chocolate.
Bam. Yeah, you knew exactly where I was going to go, bro. One of them was Hershey from a Hershey chocolate factory. So the Titanic and the Federal Reserve are tied so close to each other.
Oh, yeah. And the Titanic sunk at 2:18.
I thought you did a wardrobe change real quick.
This is me before I had a big channel covering some of the Titanic stuff.
I don't know. This is another one of those examples, like the same way that I would rather watch 6 hours of David Icke instead of playing Call of Duty or whatever it was at the time. I would rather learn about Jekyll Island Hunt Club than almost any other modern sort of take. It feels so important, especially I think it was Edward G. Griffith. Am I getting that name right? That wrote
Yeah.
Creature from
Jekyll
Jekyll
Island.
Island.
Yeah.
That book, that was the book, man. I swear that I kind of grew up Democrat by default. And then I became more like I don't care, apathetic once I got into the military, because then I started realizing that like Democrat by default, like that gave me smaller paychecks and the Republicans gave me bigger paycheck in the military. But I still was kind of in that mentality of, well, the Republicans are the mean racist ones and the Democrats are like the nice, want to help everyone out ones. But
Even though the Democrats created the KKK,
they did, even though they created the KKK. But then, you know, the Southern Switch, they did like a take back, like bounces off me, rubber and glue thing. But the Creature from Jekyll Island, that was the first time that I finally understood, like, oh, this is how the Democrats are bad. I get it now. Like they're using philanthropy and they're using all of these international loans and, like, you know, getting people out of their trouble just so that now they own the assets. And now all of a sudden when they need something, they just come and repossess it. They just own it from you. And that was a large portion that I guess like those pieces hadn't connected for me until I read that book. One of the hardest books I think I've ever read, because it's all about financial and economic theory. I think I might have had to read it like 2 or 3 times, and I read it while I was staying at Jekyll Island Club in I think it's called Tatucci or something. It was basically J.P. Morgan's house. So I'm staying in J.P. Morgan's house reading Creature from Jekyll Island. It was a special time.
That is nuts. No, yeah, I'm gonna come out there and we're gonna go because I would love for this is the scariest movie ever, bro. This was such a good horror film. Have you seen Titanic?
Of course, man.
Man, that was a great horror film. It had everything in it.
This was like the best date movie too, because it was super dark, it was super long. Your girl would be going through all kinds of different emotions throughout the course of this movie.
I was too young to have a girlfriend at that time.
Okay. I want to say I think that it was Titanic and Gladiator were both in the movie theater at the same time, because I remember going to get tickets for this and then sneaking out halfway through and watching Gladiator insteid. And it was like a 6-hour day at the movies.
I used to love watching the guy fall to death. I don't know where it is because I watched it with my sister. My sister loved it, but that scene where that guy falls and he hits y'all know what I'm talking about.
Have you heard the gold smelting theories of the Titanic before?
Tell us about it.
That in addition to them trying to take out the people that were objecting the Federal Reserve, that one of these theories, this is one of the more outlandish ones, but that the Titanic sank because maybe did it, maybe didn't, but the official story is that it hit an iceberg. But even just hitting an iceberg doesn't necessarily mean that your hull immediately cracks open and the boat, you know, splits in half. But another thing that was happening is that they had an engine room. I'm going to make up a number. I think it was like engine room number 11 or something, but it was on fire for multiple days, even as the Titanic was going from port to port to port, picking people up. And before it came over to make its final passage, this engine room was on fire. And how long it was on fire has been theorized that is part of what weakened the hull, so that when it hit the iceberg, it was very brittle and it just had lost all of it.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so some of the theories is that the reason why that room was on fire the entire time is because they were smelting gold. They had to keep the temperature up so high for so long, which also was why they were going into these cold waters so close to the icebergs, was to balance out all the heat being generated from smelting the gold. And part of the way that they were doing this, again, this is all part of the theory, is that people had driven cars onto the boat for transport, bedposts, all sorts of metal objects that were made out of pure gold, and then they just painted over it so you couldn't tell it was pure gold. So while everyone else is out, doing the cruise ship thing, they're literally turning bedposts into gold bricks to then stock up the Federal Reserve funding. Like, that's where the money came from, is they were illegally smelting gold and embezzling it into the country to fund the very first version of Federal Reserve.
Now, there was people opposing the Federal Reserve as well that were on there, and they sank with the ship. And then a year later, I look at it as a king kill ritual, but of the boat. So they sunk it, and then the Federal Reserve was built the next year. And the Hershey chocolate guy, he was told not to go on it. And what does Hershey's chocolate do? They got all the tinfoil.
That's where all the hats come from.
They got all the tinfoil.
And the other thing too is that John Jacob Astor, he dies in the Titanic sinking, and he was the last remaining financier of Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla had fallen out of favor with I think it was Morgan that was running either GE or Westinghouse. But that was another sort of extra bonus on top, is that not only do you eliminate your competition for the Federal Reserve, but you also eliminate your competition for electricity.
I got to give a shout out. We got a super chat from Sarah. She says, your mind is like a string and thumbtack board connecting all the dots. Thanks for keeping it real.
Thank you, Sarah.
And she likes how I treat my Chan cat. For sure. Shout out to Chan. Thank you so much, Sarah. That means so much to us. With $50 super chat. You can send a super chat. She must have watched or went down in the link down below, but you could also send super chats here by scanning that Venmo or the link down below. If you're on my channel as well.
And speaking of Chan, you suggested something off air last night, but I love it, is that maybe when we launch Illuminati comic and we're sitting here, monitoring who's back and what and who's getting, like, maybe whenever someone gets a VHS box or something, Chan gets a treat. And maybe we'll have like some extra like special treats for when someone gets Illuminati Yacht Club. We'll hook Chan up. So that might be fun.
We definitely will. Let's go to a commercial real quick. And of the Illuminati comic. And while we go to this commercial of the Illuminati comic, make sure to go to it and go right here to the Notify Me on Launch. Sign up right now while the comic's playing, and we will be right back after these messages. Illuminati comic.
Learn about the full history of the Bavarian Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt, Alumbrados, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and more. From the 18th century to modern day, we expose it all. That's right, it's the Illuminati comic from Donut and Paranoid American. Get yours now at IlluminatiComic.com.
Yeah. We back. So let's see. I don't know if that gave y'all enough time, but yeah, we did get a sign up. I see we got one new sign up. I'm super excited to drop this on all y'all. Looks like we got Crypto Alchemist up in here with us. My Sherry, thank you so much. Oh man, what else is going on in the news? Oh, bro. So like all the monkeys escaping. This is the Reese's monkey experiment. And doesn't that look very like transhumanist sort of future.
This is such a sad experiment too, man. It shows like how much animals need some sort of extra like interaction or companion. And when you say transhuman, yeah, man, because this is gonna kind of be like the future of humanity too, where like we're just hugged up on some like cybernetic robot that somewhat looks like a human because they made it bipedal and gave it a face. When there's going to be really nothing else around. Maybe let me just try and paraphrase part of this experiment, but they had like two different fake monkeys set up. One was it gave them everything they needed to survive, like food and water or something. But then the other one, they just gave a little face and they put some sort of like a blanket around it so that it at least felt just generally like a monkey would, and the monkey would leave the one that gave it everything that it needed and would come and hang out with this one that didn't give it the things that it needed, except for this weird feeling of companionship.
Yes, this is the Reese's monkey experiment, and it actually died if they didn't get physical touch. So it shows the importance of physical touch for life. Like when the mother has birth, they throw the baby right on the mother's chest so it can feel the mother immediately, just like you see in this image. And this is very important. So it's this human bonding that is super important. And we have this loneliness epidemic right now. And Generation Alpha, they had to kind of grow up with this social distance for the socialists society.
Do you think this B4 initiative is kind of like a human Reese's experiment?
I think the B4 thing, it is a lot of, I talked to Malcolm and Simone about it. You mean the 4B, right? Yeah. Malcolm
Yeah,
and
the 4B.
Simone are the elite couple breeders. We did an interview with them going over pronatalism. So most of society is anti-natalist, where they don't want to have kids, right? Like, that's what it seems like.
I mean, want might be a loaded word there, because there's an interesting statistic that I won't get into the buzzwords, but Planned Parenthood, whatever you think of them, but they did a survey from the people that were going there to utilize one of their most controversial services. And over time, there was a direct traction of, or like a trend where for the longest time, people going there, it was for like a lifestyle or just not wanting to go through and make a family. But then there was a definite switch at a certain point in our lifetimes when the number one reason became financial issues. It was like, I want to do this, but I can't afford to do it. That's a fairly new phenomenon, especially when it comes to that particular controversial service that I'm talking about. And I think that also goes kind of discounted now, where the reason to do that has completely shifted into now it's just not economically feasible. Now, a lot of people feel like it would be irresponsible to try and bring kids in where they can't necessarily even know that they're feeding themselves, let alone this other kid. So that didn't really affect people. Like people in the Dust Bowl having like 8 or 9 kids still, right? But it's completely shifted. The entire outlook on how that's going to work has shifted, which I think is part of the explanation of those trends that you were showing on the graph, where now all of a sudden you've got fertility rates in free fall, but you've got immigration rates that are sort of counteracting that. And that's one of the things too, not on a tangent, but like the Japan is not necessarily doing as much of, and they're going to have to do the exact same thing, because that fertility is going to have to be replaced by something. And in this case, it's been immigration.
And shout out to Ron Laurie up in here with the awesome super chat, $15 super chat, saying, bro, happy birthday. Thank you for all the dope info. Much love. Much love to you, Ron. Really, really appreciate that.
You got to be like 400 years old by now with all the birthdays that you got.
Oh, yeah. What's your birthday too today?
It is. Yeah. It's my birthday every day too. For the next month, at least.
It looks like I must have blocked RGZ. So I'll go unblock you if I did. My bad. Because like we chat all the time up on your podcast with Secret Society, so I don't know why, but that's funny. We'll get you back up in here, dog. I have some more stuff on my phone. Like, I guess, did you know about Elon's brother hanging out with Epstein and stuff?
No, I mean, I don't even know if I knew that Elon had a brother.
Bro, so like there's different like conspiracy like rabbit hole groups that you can go down, right? Like the Tommy Truthful like gematria rabbit hole, right? Or the donut symbolism rabbit hole, or the paranoid American paranoia, a adrenaline type.
Yeah. Just
So
I
I'm down
call it a dern.
I'm down the Knights of Malta rabbit hole right now. So I'm finding all this weird stuff that I've never found before. And Elon's brother Epstein, I'll just look that up. Business Insider. Dang,
Actually, I've been to Malta before too. It was pretty nuts.
that's really expensive.
It was a cool trip.
When I worked with Christopher AMTV, we were going to all these crypto conventions, and there was one they were like trying to work with, and they were like, yo, come to Cyprus or something like that. And I thought it was cool, but it was hella sketch. And I think there was like a Malta one too. And I remember watching like their videos, and like they had like the Masonic rings on and all that for the crypto commercial. And I knew about the symbolisms and stuff like that in the secret societies, but I didn't say anything because I'm just a video editor, you know, at the time. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. And I didn't have a channel. It was just like looking at symbols, listening to David Icke and Tsarian and Jordan Maxwell and all of that.
So you knew what you were seeing. You just didn't have any outlet for it.
Yeah. And I've even made like videos like this a long ass time ago. I did a whole like Disney MK Ultra mind controlled Juggalo ICP video, like 2 views. It was just me watching it twice. Like, you know what I mean? So it just, so this is like stuff I've always liked ever since a long time.
I mean, so what was the connection with all the symbolism and the crypto? Were there like actual?
I don't know
that
company. I don't even know the company anymore. There's so many crypto companies, like, because I was going to these like events and stuff in 2015 and stuff. So you've got all these different companies that pop up, disappear. Like you meet thousands and thousands of different people, and a lot of them were in Ukraine.
Funny that.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, not really, but yeah, a little bit, but not really, man. That's like that's been our one connection to corruption on that side of the world in Crimea.
Yeah. So it's weird. But so here's this article. Jeffrey Epstein set Elon Musk brother up with a girlfriend so he can get close to Epstein. Isn't that crazy?
So, I mean, it sounds like there's a non-zero chance that the Musks are somewhere in one of Epstein's black books.
That's what I've heard from some
I almost feel that it was almost like having the new iPhone. It's like a status symbol. It's like, oh, you don't have any Epstein doesn't have any blackmail on you. You're not in his black book. Like, I guess you're just not at that level yet. Everyone here's got blackmail on them by Epstein. Why don't you have some?
Man, that's crazy. I'm going to be doing a video with Ryan Gosling tomorrow, not the actor, over on my Patreon. So make sure to go subscribe to the Patreon if you would like to watch that. We're going to do a live stream, I believe, at noon my time. If you haven't watched our Mithra cult connected to the Esalen Institute video that I got on my YouTube channel, the guy's very smart. So we're going to be diving into some stuff. And then Paranoid and I will be doing a stream again at 11:11 as well. I forget what I was going to tie that into something, but I forgot what I was going to tie
another bit of Illuminati news we got going.
Well, no, it was something to do with Elon Musk. Then I was like, Ryan Gosling. I forget what it was going to be. Let me see what else I got on the list of strange things. Jimmy Kimmel. Oh no, this is Tucker Carlson.
Oh, so do you know anything about the demon back rub thing? Like what massage parlors is Tucker Carlson going to where they got demons on staff? Or was this like he woke up in the middle of a night and there was a demon on his back?
So yeah, Tucker Carlson has been putting out UFO cow mutilation videos, which is straight connected to the FBI, for a while now. And his dad was in Mockingbird. So he's been always pushing this alien agenda. And now it's not an alien, it's a demon that went into his house. And you hear this a lot. Aliens and demons. There's a connection to that. I think it's hella sus. I don't know. I could pull up a video clip to see what's going on. You want me to? I'll pull up a.
Yeah. Well, and I guess it's worth always pointing out when this comes up that Tucker Carlson claims that he tried to join the CIA after he got out of college, but that he was denied. And then after he was denied, he decides to join journalism. And that's where he got his entire career in journalism, was just because he first tried to apply to the CIA and got rejected. But if you can read between the lines or make tinfoil hat assumptions, but who's to say that he didn't apply and they were like, you're hired and we need you to go ahead and join, like professional journalism. That's going to be your role for the CIA. So like all the same events happened. It's just that they did accept him. They didn't reject him. And I think we brought this up earlier. This is like a concept in the military. They would call that sheep dipped. I don't know what the civilian version of being sheep dipped would be, but that's a very strong possibility that gets insinuated a lot.
I'm looking for the clip of him.
I wonder what happens if you leave a folded 50 on the table when you're getting a massage from a demon.
I don't think they do it for money. But so this is the thing, is that Canadian patriot Matt Ehret, he wrote this article called "What Do UFOs, Lawrence Rockefeller, and MK Ultra Have in Common? More Than You Think." And I've read this probably 4 or 5 times. And this just dismantled the alien psyop and the connections of Blink 182 to Harold Putoff of Scientology, and how they were kidnapping this poor guy. It was a connection to Harold Putoff, to the guy being kidnapped and doing experiments on this poor guy, putting him under MK Ultra, where he was like being abducted, or they told him like an alien gave him a a computer and all that. Kind of like how Billy Carson says on these mainstream podcasts talking about the aliens, but how the aliens came to him, visited him to go to a website, which went to his Patreon. It's like such bullshit. All these scam artists out here pushing this alien psyop shit.
Well, that guy that you mentioned too, Lawrence Rockefeller, he's sort of a linchpin too. I mean, ironically or coincidentally, we were talking about Princeton and Harvard earlier. Those are the two schools that he went to. He was also one of the original investors in both Intel and Apple. So he kind of hedged his bets on all sides of this way early on. Obviously just being part of like the Rockefeller Foundation, but then also he worked directly. He was a longtime friend of this guy, DeWitt Wallace, and DeWitt Wallace was sort of like a Henry Luce character, but DeWitt Wallace is the one that founded Reader's Digest. So between Luce and Time Life magazine, and then DeWitt Wallace and Reader's Digest, both being connected directly to the Rockefellers, that's essentially every single housewife in the entire country during those formative years of MK Ultra.
Damn. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could pull up this Illuminati cow documentary that I put together a while ago. Let me see if I can find it. But while I'm looking for this documentary, let everybody know about this comic one more time. So, oh damn, look how many we got. 723 now. Let's try to get this past 800. That'd be sick.
I mean, we'll be by 800 pretty soon. So yeah, the Illuminati comic, it's over 50 pages. It's in the form of something called a chick track. If you don't know what a chick track is, you should probably look into that too, because chick tracks are sort of the original DNA of a lot of conspiracy theories, at least in America. It was by a guy named Jack T. Chick, who I believe worked for the military at some point making propaganda, and he saw how effective comic books were in particular at spreading propaganda, and he decided to make religious versions of that. And we're just taking the exact same formula that Jack Chick did with these chick tracks, but we're teaching conspiracies. And I think maybe conspiracy is not even the real word. This is like factual history, but it's something that gets stated so often. A lot of people throw the word Illuminati out there. They say Drake's in the Illuminati or Wu-Tang or Beyonce or whatever. What could they possibly have in connection to this group of rich white German dudes in Bavaria from the 1776? Well, it turns out a lot. And it actually turns out by the end of us working on this comic, I think I am more convinced than ever that maybe Drake is literally in the Illuminati. And I know how silly that sounds and how superficial it is. But again, one of my favorite things we uncovered here is how the Illuminati has a track record of backing child pop stars. They backed Beethoven, Mozart, and Bach all when they were children, and they constituted all of their trainers, piano teacher, violin teacher, even the publisher of Beethoven. We wouldn't know about any of this if it weren't for the Bavarian Illuminati. And who even knows if Beethoven would even have still been known today if it weren't for the Bavarian Illuminati? The same way that how do we know if anyone would even care about Drake if it weren't for like a hip hop Illuminati? So we uncover that kind of topic, but also all of the deep historical aspects, when they were actually formed, who formed it, where did they infiltrate? The Pope disbanded them like 3 or 4 different times. Emperor Theodore disbanded them a couple times. We kind of have a illustrated, documented record of every major event that ever happened to the Bavarian Illuminati, from their founding all the way to their disbanding, and then what happened to them after that fact.
Nicely said. So I got this video downloading right now. It said it's going to take like 1 minute, but it's pretty sick. I never released it. It's only been on Patreon for years, but it goes over Tucker Carlson a little bit. Because I bought this. I was in Sedona, and I went to this bookstore and I tried to find the weirdest book. And the weirdest book I found was on cow mutilations. And that's what it was called.
Some
And
light
then,
reading.
yeah. And then when I was out to eat, they're like, what books did you get? And I was like, oh, just on cow mutilation. And it just sounded crazy. So I'm just waiting for that to download. And
You know, Tucker Carlson too, sort of not him personally, but indirectly was one of the main inspirations to even start working on comics. And it was all this. I don't know if you've seen this. It was when Jon Stewart got invited onto Crossfire, and Crossfire was Tucker Carlson and some weird looking dude that they had on there. And in that interview, Tucker Carlson is kind of trying to throw some gotchas at Jon Stewart, and he's asking him about like these political stances. And at one point, Tucker Carlson's kind of like, I got you, being a hypocrite a little bit. And Jon Stewart looks at him, he laughs, and he's like, dude, the TV show that follows my program are puppets making prank phone calls. And it was sort of this ultimate mic drop of like, yeah, we can converse on the same level with each other, but I'm on a comedy show. Like, I don't have to be serious. I don't even have to be right. And I'm already competing with you and making you look like an idiot. And he made fun of his bow tie, I think, at some point. And I remember at that exact moment, I was like, man, I wonder if I presented conspiracy theories, but if I did it with like comedy and like over the top, silly antics, it would make it so if someone was like, no, that's like, Alexander Graham Bell wasn't a nudist and he didn't turn a sheep into a person. And I could be like, dude, you're arguing against a comic book. And it felt like the ultimate cheat code. So that interview with Jon Stewart and Tucker Carlson is where I kind of decided to take this turn in the fork in the path, where it was like, okay, I need to make actual silly, fun, like over the top comic books in order to present this research. And I was in the middle of reading like John DeCamp's Franklin cover up book, which is like the darkest book I've ever read in my life. So at that point I'm like, man, how do I make this funny? And it went through some iterations, but yeah, that was like one of the main inspirations for where I'm at now.
damn, yeah, Crank Anchors. Somebody wrote Crank Anchors.
It was Crank Anchors
with special ed.
That was another special point in time. Remember the Jerky Boys had a movie?
Jerky Boys. Yeah,
they had a movie, man. It wasn't a great movie, but the Jerky Boys albums were phenomenal. And here's another like even deeper cut. I'll be surprised if anyone in chat has ever heard of this prankers called Blackout Box. And I think if you go online, you can find some of their old prank calls on YouTube. Yeah, man, it was another time when people weren't afraid of like having the FCC shut down their phone lines.
Well, the Jerky Boys were in ICP's movie, Big Money Hustlers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Big Money Hustlers.
Did you have a favorite Jerky Boy personality?
I was pretty young, so I didn't know all the names. But this guy was one of the Jerky Boys. He's wearing a suit, I believe.
It was two guys, this guy, and then there was like a darker skinned dude. And I think this guy, he played Frank, my two favorite characters, Frank Rizzo and Saul Rosenberg. And he said, I don't know if it's the same voice, but it's the guy that played the turtle on Rocko's Modern Life, and then also the red-haired neighbor on Family Guy. I think those are both the same.
Oh,
really?
The same
guy. It's the same damn voice as Saul Rosenberg.
So I tried to download this video and it just didn't download. Can you download Rumble videos?
You can. I mean, I use a little special tool called YTDLP. You don't know about that, I'll have to hook you up on it after this. But you install YTDLP and you can put in the link to any video site you can think of, and it'll download the video.
Okay, yeah, because it's not downloading, and I feel like I gotta download it to do it justice.
This is an unreleased video that you haven't shown yet?
Yeah, I mean, I can play it here, but I don't have audio.
I could hear it.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
but
it's not
coming
coming
into
out
your
of.
mic.
Yeah. Episode aired. It's not. It's coming through my mic.
That was the first episode that got aired on Comedy Central.
Yeah. So this was the first episode of South Park. Yeah. So like
After
the whole.
this aired, everybody, this was, I think I was middle school. Everybody was doing the Cartman voice for the next 4 years after this episode aired.
I saw this air. Like, I was there.
So, I mean, I can even one up you on this, bro. I saw this when it aired, and before I saw this air, when it first premiered on Comedy Central, I had also seen, what was it called? Like a Christmas Miracle Story or something, but it was basically
Yeah, I know the
Jesus
Christmas.
fighting Santa. I remember
Yeah.
seeing that before South Park even came out because it was getting spread around online through like a real media player.
No way. Okay, you did one up me there. I know exactly what you're talking about because that's how they got the gig to do this first episode. And
Yeah, it was like a Christmas card, and they sent it out to a whole bunch of people, and it exploded. It was one of the first examples of viral video on the internet ever, like in all of history. This was one of the biggest first viral videos.
it was really good. I used to watch it like over and over again. That's so funny. No, you definitely got the one up on me on that one to see it before. But what about Cannibal the Musical? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I mean, because they like to poke fun at Mormons a lot too. So Cannibal the Musical, I believe, was also like a Mormon musical. And
So
I'm sure you've seen baseball or basketball.
yeah, basketball. I love basketball. I'm huge Trey Parker, Matt Stone fan. I'm trying to figure out how to download this.
I'll get you set up with the YTDLP. It'll solve all your problems after today.
Yeah, so I guess I could go through some of the slides. I just don't really remember what the hell I was talking about. 'Cause like I look how young I was. But I kind of remember a little bit. Look, that's me.
And it's so crazy to think too that X-Files and South Park were both on during these same years, like
That's me,
premiering
bro.
live on the nights. It was like a whole different time period, man.
Did you see me as a kid?
That was you as a kid.
Yeah, with my alien chain and my South Park shirt. So this was like pushed on everybody. Carl Jung, UFOs, Illuminati cows. This is just part of the Illuminati animals series with the owl on the dollar bill.
And you know what? We got an Illuminati cow in the Illuminati comic because all of the different Illuminati animals that you've brought up over the years, we made sure. I don't even know if you noticed this, but I made sure to work every single one of them into the book in some places.
Well,
We got worms, we got cows, we got dolphins, we got them all.
Look at the Nabisco animals. I was making an argument that the Knights Templars put them all in prison. They're calling them prison animals.
The cross of Lorraine on there too. And I didn't even realize this until my girlfriend pointed it out recently, but that the animal crackers are no longer behind bars.
Okay, really?
Yeah, look, like the when I was growing up, they all basically were the one on the top right, where all the animals were behind bars. But I don't know if it was like PETA or someone, but like an animal rights group basically persuaded Barnum's Animal Crackers or all the animal crackers to stop portraying them behind bars and to just show them, like free basically. But then you're still going to be biting the heads off anyway. So,
And they got the double cross of Lorraine and Jordan Maxwell. It's like it's a Knight Templar cookie. What's inner seal mean? Does that mean anything?
Inner seal?
Yeah. Can you see at the bottom? Do I have this full screen?
You do. I just got a tiny screen that I'm using.
Here, let me see if I can make this one bigger. Inner seal.
interseal, right? Is that a T that's supposed to be?
Oh, okay. Interseal.
That was so interseal was the packaging system. That was like what they actually used to create the little bags and the cardboard boxes. And you know what's crazy too is that Nabisco's original name was NBC. It was the National Biscuit Company, and that's where Nabisco comes from. They just mashed all those words together. NA for national, BIS for biscuit, and CO for company. Nabisco is the National Biscuit Company.
How the heck do you know that?
Bro, I go hard on animal crackers. I don't think you know.
I did not know. So in this, I start going over Podesta. He's connected with Blink 182, the Clintons, and all that, releasing the UFO information for this UFO psyop, and just showing how all the stuff in the 90s when they were doing this meeting, it was all over the news. And these mutilations started happening all over the place. And Tucker Carlson was reporting on this, and I got a lot of these slides that I dug up of different cow mutilations. And the first cow mutilation conference, look, okay, see, this is like, I was talking about the Kardashians. Look, I made this meme saying the Kardashians were part of Star Trek like a couple of days on Halloween. But I made this video here years ago saying it. And then once I posted it, people stole like my info or whatever. But
Well, she stole it. She saw the video and she was like, damn, I got to make that a costume.
maybe she did see it. But we just see this little sneaky kind of alien stuff all over the place. And Storm Area 51 happened right before the lockdowns happened. So we're probably going to have some sort of UFO event go down. And the first mutilation conference right here, I got the newspaper article. FBI joins investigation of animal mutilations. So the FBI, this guy named Schmidt, he put this conference on the cow mutilation. So this whole UFO alien psyop thing has been a deep state alphabet boy agency stuff for a long time. And the kidnapping of people getting attacked by demons like Tucker Carlson goes back to what they're doing with the cows. So they stole this from the Aswang. I'm probably saying it wrong. The Aswang or something. Vampires during Vietnam War.
Right, which was something exploited by a guy named Edward Lansdale, and Edward Lansdale
Yes.
was a madman in that he was a Madison Avenue PR marketing guy that ends up using his abilities for the military and CIA during all that. And the Aswang thing gets pretty crazy. I don't know how much you even want to describe on what he did, but it got pretty visceral. Like he basically would stage vampire attacks in these small areas in order to just raise the level of fear on all of the people that were living there. And he was trying to use that to kind of convince them that they were sort of damned.
Yes. So that guy that you're talking about, Lansdale, he got this idea in Vietnam War. So they were imitating these vampires in this mythology of vampires, and that's what this cattle mutilation is. So they suck the cow dry of blood. That's what this Aswang would do. And here's Tucker Carlson before he came out with his demonic encounter. He was putting out all this stuff on the exact same story of the cow mutilations shit. I wish I had the audio because I really love this movie. Illuminati birds. Yeah, I don't know what else it gets into right here. I worked really hard on it.
I'm sure you've done Illuminati Beatles already.
A little bit. Like the beat, like so you got the band the Beatles, right? And the beetle is connected to the calendar system. Uh like Sex in the Stars, sort of. The beetle turns into a beetle in 28 days. That's why you got 28 days later, like the months and stuff like that.
As as Wang hangs dong.
Swing hangs dong. What do you got on the Beatles?
Well, I was just wondering because of like the dung beetle, and it's like and like the golden scarabs. That seems like one of the original Illuminati animals / insects.
Tell us about it.
Well, the dung beetle was representative of like the sun god. That it was pushing this giant, like what's that picture on the right? See, it's pushing that huge pile of dung on the right there. That this was a representation of the cycle of the sun. It would push it from east to west or west to east. So this represented this sort of concept of rebirth and reincarnation, which is why that scarab beetle ends up being used so heavily in like Egyptian symbolism, especially there. I mean, all sorts of old, like the Mummy and like all kinds of Egyptian movies. Typically, there's like a golden scarab somewhere that's the key that they got to put into some door that unlocks some treasure. That's because this kind of was representative of one of the highest honors of worshiping the sun god, represented as a pile of dung.
And then like the Beatles, like the biggest band in the entire world. Like
And
why?
someone recently pointed out to me, I didn't know this, that in the Beatles Sergeant Pepper Lonely Times fan club, or whatever the hell the name of it
Sgt.
is.
Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
There you go, whatever. Everyone knows about the Aleister Crowley in there, but they also has Aldous Huxley is somewhere in the background. And I think so, I hope I'm not misquoting this, so is Terry Southern, and so is I think William Burroughs. But the fact that Terry Southern and Aldous Huxley are in there also mean things that get into that topic that starts with A that I want to get too deep into.
Well, when you invert this image, like mirror it, it's the actual OTO symbol. I could pull up, and here's the Aleister Crowley that you're talking about right here. They were also going to have Jesus over here and Hitler over here, but they removed them out of this painting. And here's the Query Boys. So this is the Beatles when they were the Query Boys. And then they took the LSD and then they became the Beatles to push the MK Ultra mind control on the generation. And down here, it's like it connects to the OTO. And Sergeant Pepper's, if you spell it out, it's the same number of words as Aleister Crowley. If you write out Sergeant and Peppers, it's the same like letters as Aleister Crowley, like the same numbers of letters.
You know, I just noticed that Aldous Huxley is right next to Aleister Crowley.
Oh, okay. So that's
if you look at Aleister Crowley, if you go down and to the right, there's a guy that's kind of got his head tilted. Yep, right there. That's Aldous Huxley.
Oh, gangster. And is that the Raven writer, Poe?
Yeah, that's Poe on there. I see Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, this would be worth just breaking down all the different people that are on here one time.
Yeah, this album was sick. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Have you seen the OTO version of it?
No, I mean, you're describing it, but I don't think I've seen that before.
Let me pull it up. Sergeant Pepper's OTO. Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah, and people are mentioning that Huxley was in the Fabian Society, Well, guess what else is in the Illuminati comic? What? An entire page just on the Fabian Society and their symbolism and the some of their biggest members. It's all in the Illuminati comic.
Yeah, go to the Illuminati comic. So here's just a blog where they show Crowley, but also the winged beetle, like just the beetles.
That's the scarab. That's that dung beetle.
So it's got to be important to like branding this brand of the Beatles. I'm looking for
What a looker. That was one of the weirdest pictures of Aleister Crowley, is when he was taking people on those like mountain climbing expeditions.
That was Aleister Crowley?
Yeah, dude, that was before he got all weird and like old and fat looking. That's Aleister Crowley right there.
He kind of looks like me.
I mean, you too can become Aleister Crowley if you dedicate your life to it. we could do a donut photo shoot and just get you posed like Aleister Crowley here.
This is the Sgt. Pepper's Crowley OTO stuff. This is crazy.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that before.
It's pretty dope. So for people who don't know, this is the OTO symbol right here. And then when they mirror this image, you can see it's the OTO right down here and the Aleister Crowley signature of the penis. This is Aleister Crowley's signature, and it's the balls. It's the phallic. It could be a stretch because whatever, but it does kind of look like it. That's it. That's it for that.
And the OT, so this is getting out of my realm of expertise for sure, but the way that I've had this explained to me before was that the OTO was a more modern take on Rosicrucianism, which is why they share a lot of the same symbolism. Like the OTO symbol, it has a rose that's in this cup, and the rose has these 2 rows of 6 petals, and then you've got this dove that's like flying down into it with kind of like a laser light show rainbow going on behind it. But that rose, I believe, was part of the Rosicrucians. And the Rosicrucians originally was an all men's club. It was a heavily religious Christian all men's club that talked about like these esoteric orders. And then OTO gets founded as a way to build on top of that, change a little bit, and also become co-ed. So then they start allowing women into it because they want to do sex rituals, and I guess it wasn't as fun when it's all just a bunch of like religious old dudes with the sex rituals. So they open it up for women. OTO starts, but then I think Aleister Crowley falls out with the Golden Dawn and then ends up doing Thelema instead, which is like his own blend of all of those: Rosicrucianism, Golden Dawn, Freemasonry, and he turns it into his own thing.
That's crazy.
Now, you know what else talks about the Rosicrucians?
The Illuminati comic. Yeah, so we got the Illuminati comic. Me and Paranoid American are going live every single day at 11:11. Make sure you tune in every single night. Tomorrow we're going to have Ani Asaru at the Spiritual Shade Room. Come join us. We're going to be talking about mind control, NLP, Illuminati penguins, all of that. Looks like we just got 725 followers. Now go to this link, illuminaticomic.com, and sign up. Let's crash through 800 before tomorrow night, because we are about to launch the Illuminati comic on 11/11. So we got 3 days, and then we're dropping this comic, and you're not going to want to miss out on all the different goodies. It's going to be international. We're going to be teaching y'all about all the different Illuminati stuff, but make sure to click that link down below and go to the notify me on launch. Let's get this past 800 before our show tomorrow night on signups. It's super important to do the sign up. It would mean just so much to us because it can get us into the Kickstarter algorithm. But on top of that, you're going to be awarded with special goodies that sell out quickly. We're talking VHS box. We're talking 5G donut, Suge Knight necklaces, and all that good stuff.
Oh, we'll show some pictures of the donut, handmade, organite, shungite, little pendants that we got cooking. They're all being handmade by one of the nation's experts in making organite.
Is that what you sent me, that picture in Dropbox?
Did I put it in Dropbox?
I saw something. Yeah, you dropped.
Yeah. There's two different versions. If you want to show one now too. There was two different prototypes that we've been working on. Neither of them necessarily represent the final version of either of these. The most important part is they look like sprinkled frosted donuts, and they are legit organite. They've got all of the materials that you need to have actual organite in them.
That's so gangster. Yeah, here, I'll bring up a couple of them slides if that's okay with you.
Yeah, please.
Because I think this is tight. This is why
this is the first time that we've shown these anywhere. So nice little treat here.
Yeah, I think we did actually show one a while ago in a video, but it was so long ago. Maybe we didn't. I don't remember. But this is sick. I actually got one of these. Okay, so here's the donut. This is a prototype, but we're making it like a donut, but it's all that good stuff.
And we're gonna have him on to explain why this was using all the right materials, the right resin, the right ratios of copper to shungite to all the other elements. I'm not an expert on what goes into organite, but the guy that's making all these, Isaac, he knows. He's been doing this forever, and he does all like the electrical testing and the resistance, and he makes sure that they're legit.
Yeah, so we're gonna have him come on and see. This is why you want to sign up early, because he's not gonna be able to make thousands of these. You know what I mean? Like, these are custom made, so there's gonna be a limit of how many. So it's important to get notified me on launch, because once we launch it, you'll have first access to stuff like that that will sell out. So make sure you go notify me on the launch. Anything else, Paranoid American? This has been fun.
I'm just definitely tune in tomorrow night, because when we talk about the penguins, that's another really crazy rabbit hole that I went down, because I remember reading all these stories about they're taking these pineal glands from penguins and doing these experiments on it, and it's all MK Ultra related, and I never heard anything beyond just those words strung together, which are pretty crazy words. But I found the original documentation, the military experiments. I read through all of it. I got a nice little summary on exactly what they were doing, how they were doing it, and why they were doing it. So maybe we'll get into that tomorrow. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, we will. Here, I'll show you a couple little slides real quick. Sorry, of Illuminati penguins. Do you like that one? This video was crazy. If you look at the Illuminati penguin umbrella, like the bird people, it gets hella deep. These are just a few of the slides that Ani broke down that we'll get into tomorrow, which is some crazy stuff. Oh, this is the craziest thing, I think, is that the penguin books. Anyway, I'm so grateful that you here with us. Anything else, Paranoid, before we close up shop?
No, shout out to the chat. Thank you all for all those super chats. Thank you for getting us over these different humps. Thanks for just hanging out with us. We're excited to be doing this nightly show.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Make sure to smash that like button. You tuning in to all your Illuminati news. Go to the Illuminati comic. Much love and God bless you.